What useless, scary facts do you know? About once every 30 minutes, your body produces a cancerous cell. As a rule, your immune system is very efficient at detecting and neutralizing them immediately. But it's quite possible that after 30 minutes, your immune system will give battle and allow the cancerous cell to multiply. Sleep helps your immune system fight cancer cells. Just think about that when it's 4 a.m. and you're still not sleeping. Aneurysm rupture can happen at any time to anyone, for any reason. Last year, my friend experienced this firsthand. You might already be dying. Many fatal diseases don't have symptoms until the fatal stages, when it's already too late to do anything about it. Don't thank me right now, but inside you there's a skeleton, and it's wet. Winning the lottery increases your chances of being killed by a family member or any other person close to you. I've also heard that winning the lottery increases your chances of becoming bankrupt or a victim of a violent crime, house invasion, and theft. Every time you pass by a mountain, there's a small chance that a boulder will fall off and crush you to death instantly. Your body can kill itself to get rid of a foreign organism. Not exactly a useless fact. Quite a few men have died in the Grand Canyon trying to prove it would be cool to pass over the edge of the canyon. They lost their balance and fell down. You could die from pooping. It's all about a nerve that also plays a role in the work of the heart, called the vagus nerve. Usually, in a situation with a fight, you just faint. In my case, I just feel nauseous. If you're killed, there's a very high chance that your killer was someone you knew. I'll keep that in mind next time I get killed. You could have a heart attack and die at any moment due to heart problems you didn't even know about. There's a syndrome called the Ruggeda syndrome. It has no symptoms and shows no signs. Most people are diagnosed with it after death when testing their close relatives. It's a genetic disease, and the diagnosis is made only if one of the direct relatives also has the disease. My father had this syndrome, and we found out when testing confirmed that I have it, as well as my uncle and brother. My grandfather may have had it too. Since he was 40 years old, he had already had 4 heart attacks. My former classmate died from it at 23. No one could believe it, and until the autopsy, there was no clear cause of death. During crucifixion, people rarely die from bleeding. In fact, they die from asphyxiation or suffocation due to the way their bodies are hung. They can hardly breathe. If the person supports and slightly lifts themselves up, they can breathe for a while, but after a few hours in that position, it becomes too difficult, leading to oxygen deprivation, unconsciousness, and death. Deep-sea young squid. And by the way, 95% of the ocean has yet to be properly explored. So who knows what else could be there? Last year, I came across a cool video on the internet where ocean researchers first filmed the elusive long-tailed squid. The crew of the Nautilus filmed it, but they didn't know exactly what they were seeing until later when they figured it out. They just uploaded the footage on YouTube for the whole world to see. From a technological point of view, we live in a very cool time. At the right temperature, bed bugs can survive for up to a year without food. Adult females can lay around 300 eggs during their lifetime. You could spend $1,000 on pest control, but still not get rid of them. Bed bugs tend to come back after almost being entirely eradicated. They even become resistant to poisons. I moved into a house that was infested with bed bugs. I didn't know about it. It took us a few months to eradicate them. The pest control guy took a couple of bed bugs from my house to check their resistance to poisons, and of course they were resistant. There's a planet in the solar system completely inhabited by robots, and we know about it. You have about 6 minutes left to live. Every time you breathe in, you reset this clock. So the secret to eternal life is just to keep breathing. Damn, that means if I wanted to commit suicide by suffocation, it would take me 6 minutes. In the movies, suffocating someone with a pillow seems much easier than it actually is. Pumpkin is a berry. Sorry guys, but I had to tell you this. I've changed it for those who don't believe me. Here's a link to a Wikipedia page with a big list of berries. Stay strong even if your world is falling apart. The chance of dying in a bicycle accident is higher than in a plane crash. I confirm this. For example, I've never been hit by a car, but when I flew on a plane, I didn't watch a single part of Fast and Furious. However, I'm willing to bet that in some part of the movie, something like this happened. A long time ago, I saw a series called Monsters Inside Me, where one guy was doing something outside, and a fly flew into his eye. It got in for a millisecond, but that time was enough for it to lay eggs. The larvae began to eat his eye from the inside, and he started to go blind until the doctor figured out what was going on. Since then, I've been paranoid whenever a bug flies near my face. Manual therapists kill more people each year than sharks. My ex recently started seeing a manual therapist. Do you happen to know any other interesting facts about manual therapists? There's nothing else on manual therapists, but there's another vending machine that kills twice as many people each year as sharks. In the Czech Republic, there's a church known as the Bone Church in Sedlec. It's decorated with skulls and other human bones. It's known that the remains of about 40,000 people are kept in this church. When a person dies, the last senses they experience are hearing, touch, smell, and taste. The first sense that usually disappears in the dying person is vision. I'm curious how this became known. I assume scientists ran tests scanning the brain of a patient in the terminal stage or something like that, and the tests showed which bodily functions were still working and which weren't. This is purely my guess. Your kitchen sink has more bacteria per square centimeter than the seat of your toilet. I never understood why toilet seats are considered so dirty. You place your legs on the seat, not your buttocks. Some of your friends may just pretend they like you because you represent some kind of benefit to them. You don't realize this because they hide it well. Scientists don't know what the matter inside neutron stars is made of, but some suggest that it's some kind of strange matter that, if it exists, could turn everything it touches into strange matter. If two neutron stars collide, such as in a cosmic event, microscopic particles of strange matter could fly through space until they reach Earth. Then the planet and everything on it would turn into strange matter and be destroyed. Komodo dragons poison their victims and then chase them for several hours, after which, when the prey is completely exhausted and affected by the venom, they tear it into pieces and eat it alive. When you die, it's not certain that you will immediately stop perceiving stimuli from the environment. The brain takes some time to shut down due to oxygen deprivation. There's a high probability that when you die, you'll be trapped in your own body, conscious of your death but unable to do anything about it. This fact has been somewhat confirmed by people who survived clinical death in the hospital and remembered how the nurses and doctors frantically tried to revive them. Some parts of the universe we'll never be able to see, no matter what we can do in the future or how far we advance. Some places will always remain out of reach. That's why we call the part of the universe we can see the observable universe. For those who don't know why, it's because the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. In Upper Lake, you can find bodies from the 20s. Due to low temperatures and lack of oxygen, bodies don't decompose at the same rate they would in normal conditions. Of course, they don't look as fresh as they did on the day of death. In fact, they're covered with body fat due to saponification. But they can still be identified as human remains. There's a lot of debate in society about a ship that sank there in the 70s. Scuba divers wanted to investigate it, but the families of the victims were unhappy because the sunken ship essentially represents a mass grave. On the YouTube channel Ascobartation, a new episode has just been released about this topic, and I highly recommend watching it. It goes into more detail about all the facts regarding the case, and the author of the video even managed to talk to the relative of a surviving sailor from the Fitzgerald. It's currently believed that all quantum fields in the universe have reached their vacuum state, but we're unsure about the Higgs boson field. If the Higgs boson field is in a false vacuum, it could collapse at any moment. For the layperson, this event would lead to three things. All the chemical laws would change or stop working entirely. The standard model of physics would no longer be valid, and a sphere of energy would be emitted from the center, spreading across the entire universe, destroying all matter in its path indefinitely. And it all happens because one quantum field might not be at the lowest energy level we think it is. I didn't quite understand this well enough to start being afraid, but imagine a ball that rolled down a hill. It seems like it's lying on the ground, but maybe it's just in a depression on the slope. If this ball ever rolls out of this depression and reaches the real bottom of the hill, the universe will come to an end. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below the video, write what scary facts you know and don't forget to watch our other videos. Goodbye.